just to talk a bit more about history and history's relationship to media education. The first point, I think, which really needs to be emphasized is that there are enormous similarities between the approach to media education and approaches to history. And history, of course, is much older than media education and has the right to claim having been there first. And it is. But why I think it's important is that history has a discipline associated with it called historiography. And historiography is the study of the way in which history gets written. Who writes it, from which viewpoint, with what in mind, with whose interests it serves, if it serves any interests, which kind of approach to the concept of truth it embraces, if it does. All of this is significant and very important, both in history and in the use of media. This is particularly true when media histories come along, in the form of documentaries, or current affairs programs, or any kind of representation of the past. And the past is actually only 24 frames ago. It certainly becomes the past very quickly, in media terms. If we wish to study history, and study the way history is made, then there's no better way than to try and make one ourselves. However modest that history is, it is possible to take a series of images and some information about those images and decide how to put them together in order to tell, to construct, to narrate a specific and particular history. So if you were given, for instance, or collected, let's say 20 images, which you may take yourself, may get from books, take from the internet, wherever. If they are all around a common theme, it would be possible to use them to construct a particular history. The only suggestion I would make is if you're going to collect images at any point, you should always make sure you know where that image came from, who the image is of, something about that person, where they live. And the reason I say that is not just that that has implications for what might be called good history, but also because, ironically, in the age of the media, when we think that we are all so free and our identities are so free, we are very often represented anonymously. We're just another image in the bank of images, and there are millions of images of millions and millions of people. And in the end, they don't mean anything. They're just another one of the millions of people. In fact, of course, everyone has an identity, a name, a past, and hopefully a future. And if you're going to write a history about them, which involves them, or even if they're no longer living, if you're going to write a history about them, you need to know who they are or who they were. This is a good educational discipline. It means you've got to then use that data as well as the image you collect. And you've got to use that data with the image and put it together in some kind of structure, which usually means you're going to have a commentary or some kind of narrative form. Now those three things, image, data, commentary, together mean you construct your media history. To undertake that task is very valuable. It's valuable for a teacher. It's even more valuable for a student or pupil, because they learn how one can construct a history, and indeed how from the same data one can construct more than one history, which is extremely important in understanding especially the contemporary world. Therefore, I suggest to you that this is a possibility for history teachers which should be followed up.